Remote viewing, RV, is delineated as the practice of endeavouring to acquire impressions about a subject that is distant or unseen, purportedly through a process of mental sensing, without the engagement of the 5 recognised physical senses. This practice posits an alleged paranormal ability wherein an individual, the remote viewer, is expected to furnish information concerning an object, event, person, or location that is obscured from physical sight and located at some distance. The central tenet of RV is the capacity of the human mind to access detailed information about such targets, irrespective of spatial or temporal separation. This foundational definition immediately situates RV as a phenomenon operating outside the currently understood framework of sensory biology and physics, thereby inviting both considerable interest and significant scientific skepticism. The conceptual roots of remote viewing can be traced to earlier occult and spiritualist literature, where analogous abilities were known by terms such as telesthesia and travelling clairvoyance. These historical antecedents were often described as seeing remote or hidden objects clairvoyantly with the inner eye, or in alleged out-of-body travel. However, modern remote viewing, as a distinct field of study and practice, differentiates itself from these broader notions of spontaneous psychic receptivity or general clairvoyance. A key distinction lies in its presentation as a trained skill and a controlled process or methodology, rather than an entirely innate and spontaneous faculty. The term remote viewing itself was reportedly coined by physicists Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff in the early 1970s, partly to distinguish it from the more amorphous concept of clairvoyance and to frame it as a specific, researchable protocol. This act of defining and naming by individuals with scientific credentials like Targ and Puthoff signified a conscious effort to transpose a concept from the fringes of occultism into a domain amenable to scientific investigation. While terms like telesthesia were deeply embedded in spiritualist traditions, the newer term remote viewing sought to provide a more neutral, scientific-sounding label. This terminological shift was instrumental in attracting institutional interest and funding, although the fundamental claim of perception without conventional sensory input remained the central point of contention with mainstream science. Furthermore, the characterization of remote viewing as a trainable skill, rather than purely spontaneous clairvoyance, carries significant implications. If RV is indeed a skill that can be learned and honed through specific protocols, it suggests a potential for wider accessibility and, importantly, a greater amenability to standardized experimental testing. A spontaneous talent might manifest rarely and unpredictably, posing challenges for systematic study. Conversely, a trainable skill implies repeatable steps and learnable techniques, which should theoretically allow for more rigorous investigation. The subsequent development of structured RV protocols was a direct outcome of this perspective, though the scientific community has largely concluded that these protocols have not consistently yielded positive results under stringent experimental conditions, thereby challenging the notion of RV as a reliably learnable skill.